Well, hello there, everyone. Manny Make 25 here, and you see right here that I went ahead and painted right here is like illustration work right here of Officer, for Ali Jacobs and as well as for Lisa Campbell, these police officers here, for UC Berkeley, and yeah, I while I was working on this, I was just thinking about any information about about the spelling, and I'm like, yeah, please forgive me if it's spelt wrong, but or if it's pronounced wrong, but anyway. But you see right here is like talk about for UC Berkeley. While I was painting this, I kept thinking about well, maybe you can look that up about the spelling and as well as for knowing about maybe for a little bit about what the police officers would look like. And then I know that while I was painting this, I was like, well, the way I went and painted the uniform and then put the badges on there and as well as for the type of equipment they use, that type of stuff. And I'm sure anybody probably would if they would have seen that most recent about talk about for Amber Alerts. And I know that for like police officers like Ali Jacobs or Officer Lisa Campbell would think about is like for for how advanced it's like for Amber Alerts came as to where that you may hear about that a lot of times on the websites, Facebook, or if it's going to be radio stations or anything like that, text messaging. So nowadays with technology to where they kind of spread the news, and I don't know if they spread the news like all over the country, but if anything within within the states, so the counties. So let's just say that there was like a kidnapping situation or any a situation that happened within about maybe 75 or 100 or so miles away. So we're like warned to where as police officers that like for Officer Lisa and Officer Allie that they would think about as to where that anything respond any calls or anything like that, and they're like warned to where hey that that's about 100 miles away or something like that. So just think about it to where like talk about for real heroes, and we're like warned to where as being a police officer though that we warned to where that for the most part that for being a police officer that taking your job is to where that a number of responsibilities that likely have, and for making sure that all kids and parents protecting for Happy Mother's Day everyone. So anybody who's like kids and thinking about is to where that about the job that maybe means like for most importance, and really about what does it really take to be known as like what you call the real hero. And there may be some that may say, well, it actually takes inventing a medicine. Discover a medicine, an antibiotic that is able to design and willing to treat a disease or an infection. But on the other hand, that like I say, for the police, so that I know that sometimes some that may say that yeah, what are usually the colors of like art that more likely represent the UC Berkeley Police Department, or if it's the Antioch Police Department or San Diego, Police Department, or if it's the Chicago, police or anything like that. So we're like warned to where that they got like what's called those type of colors. So, but these paintings right here that I went and worked right here, but knowing about America, where I hear like with the pencil, but artists like me that's working on my degree, of course, and thinking about as to where whenever I paint this and wanting to where yeah that you don't have any actual photographs or anything like that around. If anything, that your most recent updates would be related to anything that you may search about maybe on the internet sites. And I know I have taken a few web designing courses too, so anybody that may think about a website that is designed to where that help the police department to identify any situations that go on during that time, that type of stuff. But I really don't know, like artists like me that may think that for like being Mother's Day, is it that you draw or you paint a picture and you may think that well if it's going to really make a difference or not. What does it really take really to be known as what you call the real hero? And we may think that well that like, and I'm sure like with Jaycee's cases that I'm sure that they're like thinking about is to where that you know uh, we may think that well you had nothing to do with the paroles, and then as well as the police who were monitoring the what you call the situation, and as well as that you didn't know this person very well. So we may think that the job may not be considered what you call as a, you may think to where, yeah, you're just being, you're just being concerned, you're just doing a background check. But really, I'm like, is it much more than just what you call a background check? For these two police officers, is that for the for the police department, is that for how the case was solved, being at the right place in the right time. And think about with me though, that I'm like, yeah, a lot of my education it goes like to where, yeah, you got to work on the spelling as well as getting the names right as well as the year right. But it was about, I'd say about already 6 years ago, and I really don't know what the police departments will be thinking about as to where these two brave police officers that worked as like to where they communicate as well as for how well that they solved the case. So we're like more to where that the ways how to be considered what you call be honored for to be a hero is that for how it would that knowing about the basics about being a police officer and knowing that for what you see and then knowing about any warning signs that may come up as well. So I keep thinking about, I'm like, yeah, that whenever that from any questions that more likely their answer as well. But on the other hand, I was also thinking about while I was doing my artwork is that, yeah, I can maybe do more work with these illustration, right, the work right here I want to put together. But I might think about anybody probably say, yeah, get clients or whoever the viewers interested in a little bit about what you do, and like for more information you can visit your website or on Facebook, ask me a few questions. But on the other hand, that as of right now, this was what I was able to put together right here. And I know that with the uniforms that they kind of look, like mixed in, and like I could maybe blend a few of these colors together, and maybe add maybe a few graphic effects or anything like that. But let's just say on average to where that these right here, I guess, as of right now, to honor these police officers, that even though if it was about 6.5 years ago, that knowing about, I'm like, really, the type of awards like think about is like for what the job stands for is that yeah, that as being a police officer, that they may think that, well, they may not have all the information about this case, but then the amount of information that it takes just to be able to solve something. And I'm sure that they may say that whenever Jaycee Dugard's situation came up to where it was solved and then she was found alive, and other cases too that they may say is to where that really that does the job and the task take a few steps forward to where that unexpectedly you're like, well, the original plan was that he came to University Berkeley and wanted to hold the event or some sort, and then they did a background check. So it seems like to where that really that for anything that was going on, and with these two police officers, group of police officers, and they're like thinking about as to where that really that for try not to ignore any situation either. And I'm also thinking about, I'm like, yeah, with these two police officers that knowing about for today being Mother's Day, and like for the parents and children, and think about for the whole part about being like being a police officer, and then knowing about the safety of our children too, is that think about as to where we may think that well, it's all about ignoring the kids. I'm like, if they want to speak up, if they find something wrong, then I guess say it's like try to speak up about it. And I know that any police officer that may think that, well, that being a police officer, that maybe you should not be asked any personal questions, such as do you kids have any IDs with you? How come? Why are you wearing the jewelry? What? How come? Why is it that you got makeup on? You got a unrecognizable makeup or anything like that. So anything more likely they may think will be kept personal. But on your hand, just knowing about your ways of how to know is that to kind of for how you handle the job as well. But on your hand, to yourself, I say for real heroes, and top our here, Medic 25. Thanks for watching.